guys, it's PonkyPlays. Welcome to our Raid Shadow Legends video. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on with my theoretical buffs that I've been doing. And today we're gonna go with Timit, the Fool. So Timit is a partner champion. His reviews, from what I remember, aren't super great. So let's go ahead and look at what his kit looks like right now. So, Carnival Hammer, he attacks an enemy 2 times. Each hit heals this champion by 10% of their max HP. If the target has no active buffs, each hit also fills this champion's turn meter by 10%. It's fine. He does have a buff strip, so this should be triggering more often than not. And, you know, he's healing himself by 20% of his max HP with his A1, which is kind of nice. So it's an alright A1, not bad. Test your strength, attacks all enemies, decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 3 turns, which also means it's polymorph proof. If there are no enemies with active buffs, grants an extra turn, and then always grants the extra turn if Kaja the Rai is on the same team. This one is alright. It's very similar to Fabian's A3, I believe. So let's really quickly look at that, just so you guys can see. So attacks all enemies. Before attacking, has a 75 going up to 100 of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 3 turns, and then we'll grant an extra turn if there are no buffs on the enemy team before the attack. So basically after the buff strip. And then he's also adding, though, the chance of increasing the cooldown of all enemy skills by 3 turns. So they're both on a 4-turn cooldown when maxed out. They both can grant an extra turn, but Fabian is also doing the cooldown. So just because of that, Timit's definitely does feel like it's lacking. It's not a bad skill per se, but not only is he decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs after the attack, so he can weak hit, there's nothing else to the skill, and you know, it's more likely that he won't be able to remove all the buffs because of weak hits. So unless you've got Kaja that'll guarantee the extra turn, it's definitely a lot less powerful than, you know, somebody like a Fabian. So I definitely, even though it's not a bad skill, it definitely could be a lot better. And then the A3, Kegs of Dread, attacks all enemies. Before attacking, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns. And then places a True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. On a 4-turn cooldown when booked. It's fine, but I don't understand why his 2 attacks are on 4-turn cooldowns. Like, sure, this one gets potentially an extra turn, but it's not guaranteed again. And then this shouldn't be on a on a 4-turn cooldown regardless. It's okay. True Fears are annoying, but they aren't guaranteed control. The increased accuracy, though, is nice on your entire team. I will say that, though. And then he's passive. Whenever an enemy skill successfully activates while they are under a Fear or True Fear debuff, fills his turn meter by 10%. It's alright. I mean, turn meter fill is never bad. And then whenever an enemy skill does not activate because they are under a Fear or True Fear, places a Provoke debuff on that enemy for 1 turn. This particular effect only applies when Kaja the Rai is on the same team. Having Kaja on the team, that becomes really, really annoying. That combo is very nasty. Being able to, like, definitely have a better control on the enemy team. Definitely like that part. But again, only works if you've got Kaja. And then he's got accuracy in all battles by 50, which is kind of low, but I mean, again, it helps his kit because everything other than his A1 requires accuracy, so definitely a good thing for him. But I can definitely see why people are low on him because all of his skills are a little bit lacking. Especially, you can probably compare the majority of them to other champions, and he's definitely being outdone by other champions. So otherwise, stat-wise, he's not bad. He could probably have a little higher speed, but good HP and good defense. So Yeah, also though, I have noticed he has pretty bad multipliers, and none of his books go into more damage, so that definitely will come up. So let's just go ahead and go through what I would do if I was to give him a buff. So for his A1, I went ahead and said, attacks an enemy 2 times. Each hit places a 50% decreased resistance debuff on the target for 2 turns. Each hit also heals this champion by 10% of their max HP. And then if the target has no active buffs, each hit also fills this champion's turn meter and the turn meter of any casual ally on the team by 15%. And I also went ahead and gave him a damage multiplier increase. He doesn't have to be the hardest hitter, but he definitely should be a better damage dealer. So we went ahead and gave him decreased resistance. It fits really well with his kit. And yeah, it'll just provide a lot more utility. And then he's still healing himself, but now the turn meter fill will be a little bit better, and he'll also fill the turn meter of any Kajas. Again, if you've seen my video on Minaya, you'll know that I think pretty much all skills with partner champions should have just a little bit of play with the partner. So it's nothing crazy, but it'll just make it so that Kaja will also gain turn meter, which, you know, make the partnership a lot better. For the A2, I went ahead and said, decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 3 turns, then attacks all enemies, deals 10% more damage for each buff that had its duration decreased. If there are no enemies with active buffs, or if there are only protected buffs left in the enemy team, grants an extra turn. Always grants an extra turn if Kaja the Rai is on the same team. And then I went ahead and said it'll be on a 5-turn cooldown, so it'll book down to a 3-turn cooldown, and the damage multipliers are also going to be increased. So right now he'll go ahead and he'll decrease the duration of the buffs before attacking. He doesn't have to worry about weak hitting anymore. He'll deal more damage because of the damage multiplier increase, and for each buff that had its duration decrease will also deal more damage. Again, it's not going to make him the best damage dealer, but definitely a better damage dealing support, I guess, in a way. It'll just help with the damage output in general. Having it on a 3-turn cooldown as well makes it so that at least the skill doesn't feel as underpowered as somebody like Fabian's, right? And then for his A3, I went ahead and said, attacks all enemies. Before attacking, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns, and a taunt buff on this champion for 2 turns. And then places a True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, and a Death Brand debuff on the enemy with the lowest HP for 2 turns. If Kaja the Rai is on the same team, this Death Brand debuff cannot be blocked or resisted. And then I went ahead and changed it to a 5-turn cooldown, so it'll book down to a 3-turn, and the damage multiplier increased again. So, still increased accuracy before attacking, but now he'll place a taunt, so he'll be the main focus of enemies' damage. The True Fear will still go on, and then Death Brand, for those of you that don't know, basically makes it so that the enemy that's under Death Brand dies, they will get block revived. Definitely really, really good utility. Fits really good with his lore. He had to, execute a person, and after that it drove him mad. So having the ability to block revive somebody, even if it doesn't come from him, is just really, really good for him. And then with Kaja being on the team, being unblockable and unresistible, just makes it really, really strong. And then for his passive, I went ahead and said whenever an enemy under a Fear or True Fear debuff starts their turn, fills Timit's turn meter by 10%, and will also fill any Kaja the Rai's turn meter by 10% if they are on the same team. And whenever an enemy skill does not activate because they are under Fear or True Fear debuff, places a Provoke debuff on that enemy for 1 turn. So just the same on that second part, it's only applies when Kaja the Rai is on the same team. So basically change the top part, so it's anytime an enemy takes a turn while under Fear or True Fear, his turn meter will go up, and Kaja's turn meter. Again, it'll just make their partnership that much better. It won't be like a huge difference, but it'll add up for sure in the end. And like I said, the second part, provoking enemies that have their skills not activated while under Fear True Fear, is just really, really annoying and nasty. So it's a really good second part to the passive. And then for the last thing, I went ahead and gave him accuracy in all battles by 80. Again, that's the highest you can get on legendary champions. And there's no reason for him not to have it. That'll just improve his accuracy, all your allies' accuracy. And then he's got increased accuracy in his kit as well. It'll just make the accuracy requirements a lot less. Especially if you're going to be using him in places like Arena. But I just feel like with all of those changes, they're not going to be huge changes, but they're going to be significant. Again, being able to decrease the duration of the buffs before attacking will be really, really big, and having both of his A2 and A3 on 3-turn cooldowns will make him cycle through his skills a lot better. He's going to have more damage on every single skill, better control. Having that Death Brand be on there will help against in like PvP content and against wave. And then the decreased resistance on his A1 will also make it so that his accuracy requirements and your allies' accuracy requirements are a lot less high. And then because he's going to be doing better turn meter on himself and also giving Kaja turn meter, that'll just, because Kaja also does turn meter with her kit, it'll just make them go a lot faster, and I feel like it'll just be a really, really good change. I don't think it's been as crazy a change as some of my other theoretical buffs I've done, but I still think it's a really, really strong change for him. I think he'll definitely be doing that job that he kind of is supposed to do, but the way it should be, a lot better for sure. And the partnership skills, again, are just going to be stronger having them as pairs. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, if you would have done anything different or if you would have liked to see more on him. I'm trying not to be super crazy with the kit changes, but also trying to be a little bit, creative in some aspects, especially when it's a champion that has a very simple kit, like some of the ones I've done earlier, where they definitely need a good, exciting buff. I feel like Timit, again, is not very strong the way he is now, but he's not terrible. So having just like those few key tweaks to his kit and the cooldowns, being different, and the damage multiplier, I think will make a huge difference in the end. But yeah, let me know if you guys would have done anything different, what you guys liked and didn't like. And also let me know who you would like to see next, if you want to see anybody specific. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next champion, which is going to be our Blade Master. It's going to be interesting because it's going to be a champion that we can no longer get. Very unlikely that they'll ever actually give him a buff, but it's definitely a champion I can see using a buff. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to see that or if you want to see anybody else next. But I'll leave you guys at that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until the next video, guys, take care.